All right, I'm live now. This is a live stream, so anybody who's watching this after the fact, please recognize that it's a live stream, and because of that, there's going to be technical issues, there's going to be bad editing or lack thereof, all that good kind of stuff. So just make sure that you're fully aware that there isn't going to be any editing here. It's just a live stream. The point of this is going to be that I want people to ask questions. Hopefully, people will join the live stream and ask questions about the MicroFreak, and I will do my best to answer those questions. So let's give this a second here. I got to share the link around a little bit. Doing it while it's live, isn't the greatest thing in the world, but I'll try to make it interesting while I'm doing this. So first off, we're going to talk about the MicroFreak, and basically, this is the new synth from Arturia. If you're watching the stream, you're probably at least somewhat familiar with what it is. Digital oscillator, analog SEM state variable style filter, touch plate keyboard, sequencer, arpeggiator, and some cool envelopes. And we're going to get into all of that good stuff. And I'll talk a little bit about the sound design process for this thing and what I contributed to the project, as well as, what my thoughts are on it overall. And I'll try to give you as unbiased of an opinion as I can. I know a lot of people get confused when they see, there's a lot of influencer media going on, and, there's, this perception that everything is biased these days, and you get products, so you're biased. Well, the truth of the matter is that I deal with way more products than I could honestly use, and if you watch my channel and whatnot, you'll notice that I don't show everything that I have. You'll see things that are sitting in boxes, whatever. That's because I never show anything that I don't genuinely like. Very rarely, at least. And the instances where I do show something that I'm not particularly fond of, generally speaking, if you watch those videos, you'll be able to tell that from the video because I don't lie. So I'm showing this because, genuinely speaking, I think it's really cool. I knew about this product very, very, very early on. And I saw it kind of take shape in different forms as it was being created. Um, and the final product is different than the very original design ideas, in some regards, and very similar in other regards. Um, what finally ended up coming out, I think, is a beautiful compromise. All products, when they're in the development stage, I don't care if it's, a budget product or a boutique product, they all go through various stages of compromise. And I think the compromises that were made, and because of those, some of the advantages that were gained also, um, created a really cool product. So that's why I'm doing the live stream and I'm going to talk about it. Give me just a few seconds here and we'll get started. Let's do this first. This, and I'm about to get back to the live chat in just a second here. Here's a real quick test of the audio. So you guys can let me know how that sounds. And if you're a member of the Arturia MicroFreak group, I'm actually going to post the join link for the actual video stream in there. So if you want to join and ask questions live on the air, I'll do that. Just be respectful when you're on here, or else I'll boot you. So we'll do that. And then down in the thread, I'll post the actual join link to this stream, because I would like to have some people join in and just kind of ask questions live. I think that would be fun and interesting. I don't usually open up to the public like that because, to be perfectly frank, YouTube is kind of like a cesspool of people. So it's a little bit dangerous to do this sort of thing. But hey, I'm a risk taker, right? Um, all right, let's see. I just need to set up just a couple of last second things. Yeah. Streaming's on there, audio and video from yes, broadcast. Okay. Okay, so we should be good. Now, let me get back to the live stream here. I'm gonna pop this thing out, chat, so I can actually see it in real time. Okay. Let's see. Mighty fancy looking word. Okay, I will be doing that. Yes, there is a way to add user patches. Okay, I'm gonna get to that in just a second. Sounds good and clear. Okay, so I'm reading here, and so I see where it says there will be updated firmware, and I doubt it. As far as adding user presets, no, you can absolutely add your own presets. That's so to show you that. So that's just I'm gonna go to a blank preset. I mean, it's just like any synth on that level. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the question, but so this is actually, from what I understand, I'm pretty sure this is the factory presets that I have here now. Unless they do another update to the factory, which is possible. I mean, this is still a prototype technically. But so I'm on preset 130 right now. So this is an initialized patch. Another way, this is a pro tip for you guys who want to create your own patches. If you're on a patch, let's say here, and you want to initialize the patch, press preset 3 times quickly. There we go. I was kind of wiggling around and whatnot. And that's the initialized patch. So, but I'm actually going to go to an initialized patch so I can show this. Hopefully that the screen that I'm using a webcam, and webcams are generally kind of blurry, so hopefully you'll be able to see it, but I'll try to read off the screen. The screen actually looks really, really nice on this thing. But so right now it says init, and it says bass, and there's like a little guitar headstock right there. Let me turn this off. And essentially you can go ahead and design your preset. So let's just quickly make a really basic preset, and then I'll save it and I'll just show you how that works. So first off, we have our oscillator, and I'm going to choose the type of oscillator, right? So I can start basic waves, which is the Arturia virtual analog, and then you've got your morph, and then you have symmetry of that, which is like your pulse width, and then you have a sub oscillator on shape. Right. What's really cool about this is, so that's the Arturia virtual analog, there's also another virtual analog in here that comes from Platts, which is cool. So you get two versions of a standard virtual analog oscillator. Superwave, which is kind of like that. You get that kind of super saw type sound where you get detuned waves on top of each other. Trying to get a feel for how soon this thing will actually hit market. I don't know the exact marketing date, and I don't really, to be perfectly blunt, I tend to not follow when products are going to be released super closely. The reason why I don't do that is because it can always change, and oftentimes does. Be it distribution hiccups, be it last minute changes to a firmware or to a product or whatever. I never pay attention to that kind of stuff. On top of that, I try to urge people, if you are getting your release date information from something like Sweetwater or Zounds or any of those distribution companies, remember they want your pre-order money. So sometimes they get that information directly from the companies, and sometimes they make it up themselves, and they just speculate so that they can get their sales, and so I would just say, focus on whatever Arturia is actually saying directly, not what a distributor is saying. And I'm not the guy to tell you that information, to be honest with you. Sorry. I just focus on making sure it's a good product. Now, moving forward, so we got this super wave. You can detune it. Oh, sorry, that's the waveform actually. So detune is here. What I really like doing with this is I love that kind of Swarmatron type sound. So that's the patch that I'm going to make right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep a saw wave with just a little bit of detune on this thing. But then I'm going to take the pressure from this plate here, and I'm going to use the pressure to detune the crap out of this thing, which should be cool. And if it's not cool, I'll look like a fool, which will please so many internet followers. So here we go. So do this, and you're going to notice that when I do this, I'm going to exaggerate my hand movement. I don't really need to do that, but it looks better on film. It's, because it's like Bruce Lee. If you move too fast, then you don't really get to see the action. So instead, I'm going to exaggerate movement so when I'm trying to apply pressure. So because otherwise I could just... And if I'm doing that with multiple fingers, you're not going to be able to tell what I'm actually doing. So you'll see me moving my wrist and everything. And if you don't like that, then you're on the wrong channel, because I love that kind of stuff. So the way that I'm applying the modulation right there is I'm just scrolling through the modulation matrix here. And let me pull up my own window so I can see that I'm showing you what I'm actually doing. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, so you'll see that the dot kind of floats around to wherever I'm going to. Up top is your destinations, and along this row here, this column is your sources. So the sources are cycling envelope, LFO, pressure, key/ARP. So that's your key tracking, basically. So in addition to this, right, you also have a sequencer. And your sequencer has 4 modulation lanes on it. So just be aware that not only do you have that, but you also have 4 modulation lanes on a sequencer, which is pretty dope. Across the top, the destinations are pitch, wave, which is right here, timbre, excuse me, right here, shape, which is not up here, right? Cutoff, which is your analog filter cutoff. And then you have these 3 assignable. And so the way you would assign your shape is you would just touch shape and then wiggle it, and then boom, it's there. And it tells you on the screen over here when you do that. So it's pretty easy to do that kind of stuff. So I'm scrolling through, and when I decide that I want something to be on pressure, like let's say for instance, I'm going to take the filter way down, give it a little bit of resonance, just a bit, right? Now I want the pressure to also be on, not only is it going to be on the detune, but it's also going to be on the cutoff. All right, so I'm going to click it and then I turn it and I can set the amount. So I'm doing that now. So it's going up 38, 40. 40 sounds good to me. So that's pretty cool, right? Let's see where I'm at here. Okay. Yeah, basically, yeah. That's kind of my mantra is, you know. I mean, I'm just to the point these days where there's so many haters on the internet. Like you can't be bothered with that. Like you just can't be. So many people who don't want to think beyond their nose, you know? So that's why I'm trying to focus more on like, hey, let's do productive stuff and stuff that'll interest people. So so now we have that. We've got our filter going to pressure. We've also got the timbre, which is our detune. And the shape, all right, is actually the volume of the super wave, because the super wave can kind of get out of control. And I think we're sounding good there. All right. Now let's play with the envelope a little bit. The cycling envelope is crazy dope. And the reason why I say that is, man, you have control over the shape on it. And so not only can it be a looping envelope, meaning you trigger the envelope and then it starts looping, which in and of itself is cool. You know, owners of like Sub 37 will know that. It can also be a standard envelope where it's a one-shot envelope, right? But it can also just steady loop, you know? So like an LFO, but an LFO that you control the shape of and speed of and everything, which is really fun. And it goes into audio rate. So let's Jim, you'd be surprised. I got trolled by a product manager for a very reputable company the other day. So I thought that was really odd, but I won't get into that. I'm not gonna play that game. So cycling envelope. Let's go ahead and play some games with that. Cycling envelope. We'll put that on. Let's do pitch for now, just to get crazy. It'll probably end up dissonant, but I just want to showcase what the cycling envelope can do. So we're gonna bring this up a bit. Right now, as I adjust the rise and fall, now I can make it really long. I mean, it can go all the way to, you can make each stage go all the way up to 10 seconds, you know, so you can have a 20-second envelope there, not counting the hold, you know, sustain. Or you can make it go really short. So check this out. Now that's linear, right? So I can hit shift and turn the knob, and then I can go logarithmic. If you take it all the way counterclockwise, it goes logarithmic, and then clockwise, it'll go exponential. Hopefully with this blurry screen, you can kind of see that. I know it's not the most clear camera, but I'm using, it's like a Logitech C930. So if you guys know a better webcam that won't break my legs price-wise, let me know. So, and same with the fall slope, right? So now I'm exponential on both, and I'm going to make it really short. So now we're going to take the pressure, and I'm going to apply the pressure to the fall. So assign, wiggle the fall, and let's go back to the pressure lane, and I'm going to click it. I'm going to add it, and I'll go to like 20. Somewhere around there should probably be cool. Can you use those knockoff GoPros as a webcam? Because if so, then that would be cool. So now you're getting into that kind of Swarmatron type territory where you can apply pressure and wiggle things around and get these weird swarming drones. And we'll get into one of my it's not a gripe per se. It's just okay, it doesn't have it. Luckily, if you're buying one of these, I don't think that this is the only synth that you own. I don't think this is the only piece of gear that you own. You probably own other stuff. So it doesn't have to have everything in it. That being said, after it hits the analog filter, it goes out, right? So there is no or actually no, it does go through a I believe a digitally controlled amplifier at the end. The master level, I'm pretty sure, is digitally controlled. So but there's no other processor after it. And the reason why I say that is because that means there's no digital effects, right? This thing loves effects, okay? So, and by the way, I'm on a Mac, so hopefully that camera works with Mac, but we'll talk about that. So anyway, and I'm talking to the live chat. So if you're watching this and you're saying, why is he so, why is he going all over the place? Live chat, join the live chat and be a part of the problem. So with some reverb, right? So just off camera, I have a Korg Chaos Pad KP3 Plus, and that's where the reverb's coming from. Or if I use this delay pedal. So you start to get these really fun drone sounds and whatnot. So say you want to go ahead and just save this, right? So what I would do now at this point is I click save, and it's going to say init. Click to save, click it. It's going to ask you to save what type of preset it is. So we'll call this a pad. And then I would name it. So you just kind of scroll through your letters here. And, for brevity, I'm not going to give this a long name or anything because I don't intend to really keep it. But I may expand on this preset later because why not, right? Yeah, swam. That sounds good. Save. Now the preset saves. So there, I just added a user preset to it. So all that to get to this. But yeah, you can add your presets there, and just like Matrix Brute, you're gonna have the MIDI control editor as well. And when you pull that up, you can save all your presets. You can create projects. You can arrange your presets however you want, that sort of thing. So let's go through here and let me see if I can find one of the presets that I did. That way I'll kind of know it. Actually, this preset's really quite nice. This is a lo-fi organ, and it uses the paraphonic ability. The paraphonic stuff is working really good. Let's add some reverb. So one of the things that I really like about this, this touch plate is really responsive. And this is something that honestly, I can just tell you, they put a lot of work into getting the touch response right, because early on I was skeptical and I was like, I'm not so sure this is going to be, this is kind of a make or break thing as far as the whole product. So I was worried, but I was excited because I'm a modular guy and I really wanted a nice touch plate controller for my modular, but I don't like my control interfaces for my modular being in my modular because I've got cables running everywhere, and I really didn't want that being in the way, you know? So there's a few touch plate keyboards on the market. Future Retro makes one. Verbose has one that's modular, but you know, you could put that in its own rack, whatever. And who else? What's the name? Sound Machines makes Arches, which is really cool. This thing is less than any of those, comes with all the synth stuff, and it works fantastic. So I'm really happy about that. The polyphonic stuff works cool. I've been controlling things like controlling my MPC with it, controlling, somebody mentioned earlier pigments. I've controlled pigments a good bit with it. Pro tip about pigments, if you have a matrix brute, those macros and everything are laid out just like a matrix brute, so you can map that sucker to the matrix brute, and like, man, it's really cool. And here we go. Let's try this. So we'll play oh, you know what? I'm gonna play the one that I did the Instagram video of, if I can find it real quick. It moves things around a good bit. Let's see. Some spring reverb. I know, just a touch of newer hi-fi reverb would be great for this thing, helping bridge the old and new. Yeah, I agree. I use the music thing, spring reverb, and I've been sending this to that pretty consistently, and you get some really great results doing that kind of stuff. This thing sounds really cool with smooth effects on it. When people saw that it didn't have a Steiner Parker filter, a lot of people were like, "Oh, well, why don't you have the Steiner Parker filter?" and kind of were freaking out about that. My personal opinion on that is that the SEM state variable filter style of filter that's in this is a better choice. It's smoother. You can make amazing kick drums with it, by the way. But it's just really smooth, and it kind of takes that digital grittiness and just makes it a lot smoother and nice. The Steiner Parker, I think, would have been a bit harsh to go with that. So I don't know. I'm personally pretty happy that that they added that in there. I knew this preset's in here. I gotta find it real quick. Trying to remember where it's at. And I think they're at somewhere around like 128 presets right now. The preset I'm looking for is called Cliched Things. So if you buy one of these, you can check it out. And it's called Cliched Things for a reason. I mean, pretty obvious reason. You know what? I'll just pull up the editor, and I can see it right on there. Where are we at? $73. All right, so preset 73, if this ends up being the same build. The point of this preset is to be very basic. But give you that pressure control and that really classic synth sound. And if you listen to the sequencer, you'll know why it's called Cliched Things. And what's cool is it is paraphonic. And we'll actually go ahead and take this down to where it's supposed to be. envelopes on this. Give it some reverb. Some delay. And some weirdness. So you can have a lot of fun with that one. That's just because I love that stuff. So yeah, I mean, another thing about this sequencer that's really cool is when you're playing it, like let's say we've got this going here, and let's change the division. So one thing that you can do here is you can hit shift and you can transpose. So like, let's say I want to go high. So you get the idea. Let's change up and we'll go to another preset. This one is really, really cool. Let's see, will it work with machine? Yes, it will work with machine. It'll work as a standard MIDI controller for anything. Anything that accepts standard MIDI controllers, it'll work. As far as the Steiner Parker filter is actually one of my more loved filters. I like it. The high pass doesn't really do that whole bass boost thing like the MS-20 filter does, but the way that it screams, I really enjoy. You know, as far as in the future, you know, them doing something like a Matrix Freak or whatever, yeah, I totally agree. I want to see more hybrid synths. Novation Circuit is a great example of that. And I feel like there's a lot of potential in that kind of market personally. And what's up, Diego? Is it poly or mono? Technically, it's paraphonic, and I know certain people will gripe about the term paraphonic, but the accepted terminology today is that you can play multiple oscillators at different pitches through the same filter and output. So essentially, it will allow us to split this oscillator into multiple notes. So, well, this isn't a great patch to show that. Let's try this one. But the filter envelope and filter that it's running through is singular. So that section is mono, but the notes that you're playing are poly. I also did this preset, so. So what I was going to show you just a second ago, this patch is really cool. It's called Auto Chill, and I'm using the LFO to step through chords. So it's just kind of vibey. And LFO is tempo synced, so if I had drums running right now, you could tell that. But I didn't really set up my drum machine, so sorry about that. Probably could if you really want me to, but you know, not a big deal. Yeah, and as far as the modulation from the pressure, I can show you something with that. Just a second. Let's grab this. I'm haphazard tonight. I've just had a lot going on lately, and I really wanted to show this. So I decided to do this live stream. I will be doing an edited video later, but for now, why not do a live stream and answer some questions and that kind of thing? Yeah. Let's go ahead and I'm going to take this pedal out for a second. That's a really cool pedal, by the way. That's syntax error from Alexander, and it's really strange and really awesome. I dig it. If you're into guitar pedals, that is one you should check out. So, all right. So this is this pedal that I've just dropped into here is a Way Huge Aquapus. It's an analog delay pedal. They're not super expensive, but they sound great. They've got that nice analog distortion on them with the bucket brigade and all that. I've modified mine, and this switch allows me to basically, I put a Vactrol in here so I can send CV from any modular source into this thing. Hold on, I gotta duck in here. Oh, I already had a cable in there. I'm being ridiculous. Look at that. I already had a cable set up. I just didn't realize it. Okay. I'll toss that one over here, and I'll plug this bad boy in here. Okay. Now, let's change this preset up, though. I'm going to adjust this preset just a bit for my liking. And there's no pressure setup on this preset, but I'm going to add some. I'm going to add it to the cutoff. And this is a paraphonic one. When you see this button lit, it's paraphonic. It looks like my data stream is kind of ugly right now. If it gets really blocky, can you guys let me know in the chat? And I'll see what we can't do about that. I don't know if maybe other people in my household are streaming a lot of stuff. Also, you might be hearing some digital noise. That's mostly from the pedal and the way that I have power set up. Sorry about that. That's just kind of the way that I have things set up right now. There is no external input on this. So let's turn the delay on. Now let's turn the CV from pressure to that. So you can hear me playing with the analog delay, delay time from pressure of this. And you hear how sensitive that is. Like I can kind of just shake my hand around. So that's pretty darn cool if you ask me. I dig that. If I go mono. So hopefully, you know, you can see that. And, you know, I've just seen a lot of people who gripe about, you know, that are griping about the fact that it's these touch plate keys. And I'm like, well, you know, if you want MIDI, just right now I'm powering it off a USB that's connected to my computer. I could literally play it from my DeepMind, which is right below me. I could you know, play it from my Matrix Brute. I could play it from my Keylab. I could play it from whatever. So that's really a non-limitation. In that case, you just use it as a desktop synth, right? Not exactly a big deal. But there are advantages to having a touch plate. So let's show some of that stuff too. Let's see. Actually, you know what? I'm going to create a new preset to do this. Just because I know it well enough to where it's probably quicker to just show that kind of stuff. First thing I'm going to do is take the decay time down, attack time down, sustain all the way down. And I'm going to bring the filter up. And if you're smart, you probably already know what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's turn that delay off. So you can make drums and percussive sounds super fast with this. And because it's so responsive, I mean, it's just, you know what I mean? Like you can fly across this sound. Which can be really fun if you're, you know, playing with lots of delays and weirdness and see, I'm not really doing that with regular keys. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, you could gripe about it, but dude, you're getting a new type of control surface for, you know, pennies. It's like, why not? Why not be down with that? The other cool thing is that I have traveled with this thing. If you know me, I like to take gear in my truck, whatever I'm doing, I like to have it with me. So lately I've been really big on these guys. The pocket operator, the KO, this thing is dope. And I keep gear with me at all times. I'm a dreaded Volca user. I keep that stuff with me. Whatever. This thing, it's like you don't have to worry about keys getting caught on anything. At very most, you have knobs sticking out, and that's about it. I power it from a battery pack all the time. I keep lots of these little battery packs around, so it does run off of a battery pack for a good long while. Not finding much about the MIDI spec on the Arturia site. So to answer that, here's what I'll say. I have not dug crazy deep into modulating it from the DAW. There is pretty much MIDI CC over pretty much everything in here. But I haven't dug crazy deep into the spec, and it's been changing throughout development. So I don't want to speak too heavily on that just yet. But I will say, like, you know, you've got 3.5 millimeter DIN in and out, which is these little guys, which I have no issue with these. I've never had a problem with this. Somebody was telling me that they were griping about it having ground, that these don't have the ground spec for it. And I was like, I've never had a problem with ground loop hum with these things. So it doesn't really bother me. It does come with its own power supply. So you got that going. And you can also do MIDI over the USB. So I haven't really had any issues with that. Okay, and wind control, yeah. I mean, you could do that polyphonic aftertouch and that whole thing to if you're doing wind stuff, you know, you could definitely use it for that kind of expressiveness. So that's cool. So like this type of like kind of kick type sounds really cool when you put it on the formant stuff. And then I'm going to give it Yeah, just it's a cool sound, man. Like, so earlier people were asking about different oscillator types, and we'll kind of run through that real quick. Basic waveforms, again, that's that analog sound. Super wave, we covered that. Wavetable is another Arturia one. So you got 16 different wavetables, and then you can scroll through the wave position. So I'll quickly throw a LFO on that. Yeah, we'll do an LFO on that real quick. Here, we'll go here. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I muted the mic. What I was saying is that so shape on the Carpless Strong is decay, and essentially each preset you can save an additional level of preset volume. So when you're in paraphonic mode, it drops the overall level of the synth a bit so that you have the headroom for multiple notes. Okay. So it doesn't start clipping and getting all crazy. So you have the ability to go in, and when you're saving your preset, you can adjust the overall preset volume, which is really handy. So that's the Carpless Strong. Now we're into the virtual analog from Platts. So unlike the basic waveforms of the Arturia model of virtual analog, this one gives you some different parameters to play with. So shape is a detune. And then you got shape of the oscillator. And then you got your wave. So that to me sounds nice and juicy. So yeah, I'll give you a quick oscillator or filter sweep again, just so you can get that love going. I'm going to bring the resonance up high. It's going to probably pierce your ears. But I just want to showcase no stepping on this. So, as you can see, it's not a DSI product. It's got that smooth filter love. And it just sounds beefy. Yeah, so moving on to the next one. Wave Shaper. Okay, making sure my mic was on. This is your wave. And then asymmetry. Okay, now this one I really dig. This is so these ones right here are all from Platts. This is the 2-operator FM. Give it some reverb. Yeah, that's fun. Formant. So that's your interval. You got the formant. And then the shape. I'm going to give it a little bit of filter. nice. Bring the filter back up. Chord mode. Let's go back up in pitch. This is the one that I did the auto chill with. So you can change your chords. Mid, sustain chord. You do minor, minor 7, minor 9th. So you can switch through, do your intervals and transpose. And then your waveform. And of course, you can do paraphonic with that to get really weird. Very cool. Speech mode.
Frequency.
I'm not going to go through all this. There's a ton of words in this thing. Now that's saying 6, but you know. What? Told you it was saying 6. I know what you were thinking. Yeah. I'm just saying. I'm so lowbrow. Deal with it. So then we get into the modal. I love that. This is just a cool oscillator. And this is kind of what I was talking about as far as the state variable filter on this being smooth and really helping out the graininess when you do these oscillator types and you go really low. Bring this up. And you bring the filter down on it. Give it a little bit of resonance. A little bit of this. It just sounds pleasant to me. Yeah, I dig it. Yeah, so those are all the different waveforms in there, or yeah, different oscillator engines essentially, and they're really full featured. So I really dig that stuff. Let's go to. I'm just gonna show a couple other things, and then I'll end the stream. So if you have some questions, let me take a look at it. Shame it doesn't have CV in. Yeah, and you know at this price point, there's going to be things that are going to be cut and whatnot. That is something that I would have really liked as well. I would have really loved to have had CV and gate, CV gate and modulation input on it. But hey, for this price, I'm not going to argue too much, and I can control it from my modular to MIDI and back and forth that way. I have controlled this thing with the Fluxus One a good bit, which is my primary Eurorack sequencer, and it works quite well. Um, where else we at? Yeah. So sequencer, I kind of already showed that, but I'll show you how it works again. I'll show you how to let me do something a little bit more immediate, and I'll kind of. Okay, so if we go into the sequencer, Shift plus ARP equals sequencer. Otherwise, it would just be, if you just press the button and it's white, then it's ARP. Right? But if we hit Shift and ARP, you get the sequencer. And if we want to clear a pattern, see if I can remember how I did it. Yeah, there you go. So you press the pattern and then you press hold so that both are down, and it clears it. So now there's no pattern. So I can record. You can record either in real time or step sequences. So if I want to do a step sequence, I don't have play running. I just have record. You can choose however many steps you want, 1 all the way up to 64 steps. I believe it's 64 steps is the max. Hold on, get out of this for a second. I'll double check. Believe so. Preset. Then we'll go into sequence length. And yeah, 64 steps is the max. I'm going to keep this shorter at 16. There we go. And another thing about that is when you go into the preset menu, you can dictate what type of mode the keyboard's in. So it can be in pressure mode, which is like it is now, or you can do pressure velocity mode. And when you're in a velocity mode, literally the velocity you hit it is determining how much of that modulation from the pressure is going to it. So you can do like cool percussive things in that way, which is nice. Then you've got things like glide mode, smoothing for your modulation sequences, that kind of thing. So yeah, back to this. We'll go ahead and record it. And then I'll do, each time I press the hold button, that's going to be a rest. So then rest. Now, if I want to record modulation, right, all I have to do is press this. Now, that first one's lit up, right? And I can hit record. And we'll do. And we'll do the filter as well. So now I've got the waveform is being modulated, the cutoffs being modulated, and the resonance is being modulated, all from the sequencer, which is pretty dope. Obviously, that sequence was garbage, but that's what live streams are all about. So, you know. And if you notice here, like I don't have play running, but I'm in the sequencer mode. So you can immediately transpose and play your sequence. Or you can hit play. So that's pretty cool. Can it be advanced with MIDI triggers? I mean, to an extent, yeah. Like kind of like how I just showed you, except you'd be sending note data. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it for now. I mean, the filter also has bandpass, high pass modes. I didn't really go over that. Let's get out. There's modulation going on there, so you know maybe it's not the best patch to show it. That's bandpass and then high pass. It's got a really long decay on it. It's like a 6-second decay on that patch. Yeah. So yeah, I'll be doing a proper edited video for this once I get a chance, but I just wanted to show you guys some interesting stuff with the MicroFreak, and I hope you enjoy it. If you got questions or anything, feel free to hit me up on Facebook. I'm usually pretty responsive. Yeah, this is Flux of Fluxwithit.com. If you want to support, you can head over to shop.fluxwithit.com and pick up a sample pack or something. That kind of stuff helps. So yeah, peace.